planetary forecast. Doing the planetary forecast is a little different than the mathematics in regards to the fact that when we do the mathematics is intentionally daily. Originally, it was a daily show. Sometimes when I miss days, we do the catch up, the recaps, and the forecast or whatever. If I know I'm probably not going to be present for the next few days, etc., etc. For the forecast, we intentionally go from new moon to new moon, which is a full, lunar cycle. And I talk about what the planets are doing. I talk about it astrologically, astronomically, for my sky watchers out there that have telescopes and things like that. This is also, a good space and time to tap into because I'll let you guys know, what different celestial events are happening on the planets and where you can find them at. And it's a good time here. So, first and foremost, because have not been here for the mathematics. Yesterday's mathematics was 529. First we started with the 519. You know what I'm saying? I talked about that heavy on, the last mathematics that we did. But that was the day of six, the day of Tippereth, setting off the tone for the month of May, which five deals with power. This is Hera Kahuti energy. This is the celestial enforcer. So through the whole month of four, we were in Chesed. We were in Mayat. We were in Neptune Pisces energy, where we were setting our internal law in order and our boundaries. We were giving that, what's your internal law? What's your Mayat? You know what I'm saying? So during the month of five, we will be enforcing that energy of, our Chesed. We'll be enforcing our internal law. Excuse me. 5 and 9 come together and make 1 and 4. So that enforcement is being influenced by your knowledge. One is knowledge. That's supreme mathematics, right? Your knowledge. One also deals with Aries energy, which is about action, motivation, triggers. So we're being, motivated. We're being triggered. And we're taking action on the 4, which is Chesed, which is what we worked on all Pisces season, bringing things to an end. A lot of things come into a closing in Pisces season, right? Also, in the force, we were dealing with, and I say Pisces season not because of the zodiac, but because of the numbers. Because 4 is associated with Chesed. This is Jupiter energy. This is associated with Pisces Maya. In modern astrology, Pisces Maya is associated with Neptune. And traditional astrology is associated with Jupiter. And that's where my mindset is going when I say Pisces. For those of you guys who are confused, and you're like, "No, last month was Aries Taurus." I know that. um, but yeah, so the month of 4 was all about Chesed, creating that divine blueprint for yourself. Today, the 5 is being brought to us by that 1 and 4, having knowledge, taking action, being motivated. Some of you guys are being angered and triggered by your divine blueprint by my, which is law, justice, truth, and righteousness. Some of you guys get triggered by the truth. Sometimes you guys get triggered and angered by, in pursuit of creating righteousness, balancing the scales and things like that. Be mindful of that. I'm not going to say turn the other cheek and, give people opportunity to smack you on the other side like I've been telling y'all. But hey Marco, what's up with you, love? In the same breath, we give grace. Chesed is the Sephiroth of grace, right? And so that's what we do. And so overall, this is the month of 5. This is the month of the celestial enforcer. This is the month of the solar plexus chakra. The key with the solar plexus chakra is learning how to control things. Learning how to control yourself is a big one. And the most empowering and powerful part of control is, self, instead of trying to control things outside of self, right? And that's what we're working for. That's what we're working towards. That's what we're motivated about. All right. So, like I said, the first day of May Day, was the day of 6, Tepereth. Now, so day 1, the first day or the first decade of the month, we're focused on our health, wellness, and daily routine, right? Because Virgo rules over the 6th house. That number 6. 6 is also the number of equality and supreme mathematics. 6 deals with, in the Sephiroth, 6 is Tippereth. This is the heart that's on fire, the sun, that's ruled by Leo energy. This is your confidence and your courageousness, right? So, in that confidence and courageousness, hey Miguel, we're working on our health, wellness, daily routine, implementing things on a daily basis. So it's not like I'm gonna take a big bite out the plate and be done with it. No, I'm going to be slow and steady. I'm going to implement things on my daily schedule. I'm going to, be working on these things little by little, and it's going to get done. I'm going to enforce the chesed that, I created in the month of 4, right? And then on the second day, 529, we have that day of 2, finding balance, harmony, law, justice, truth, and righteousness. 2 is associated with the Taurus house. This is what we prioritize and what we value. This is also that balance between the material and wealth with love and emotions, or, non-material, intangible. You know what I'm saying? Matters of the heart, what you find beauty in, things like that. 2 in supreme mathematics is wisdom. We come into wisdom. In the Sephiros, the tree of life, 2 is ruled by Jupiter, because Jupiter is Chokma, and that's 2. That's wisdom. You come from the Ketters, you go into Chokma, and then you come into being an understanding. And we'll get there in a minute. But yeah, so now we're in the space of wisdom. We were in knowledge on the day 1. Day 2, we come into wisdom. We're going to put that into the 5. We're going to enforce that wisdom that we have, and that brings us to 7, which is Netzach. And the Sephiros, this is the celestial designer. This is Het Heru and the Neterus. 7 in astrology deals with Libra. So now we're in the Oba scales of law, justice, truth, and righteousness. So we start off at the 2 in Taurus, 2 dealing with wisdom. 2 is also a number associated with Mayat as well. You can't hear me? The rest of you guys can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Can y'all let me know if y'all can hear me? Anyway, so number 2, so we start off with number 2. We end up in the year, we come into the 7. It's low. That ain't it. I don't know if it's too much I could do about that, but I'm talking. Is it still low? But yeah, we coming into the law, justice, truth, and righteousness with the 7. Netzach is the celestial designer, making things into our space. That is a Sephiroth that's ruled by Venus, making things. So now we have, we are enforcing the 2. We come into the 7. Supreme mathematics, 7 is God. And we're going to, of course, we're going to add that to the year of 9. This is the year of Yesod. This is the year of your Moja. This is the year of Cancer, feminine energy. This is the year of giving birth, born is the number 9 in supreme mathematics. 9 also deals with Sagittarius. That's the Sagittarian house of generosity, optimism, ruling over the sacral chakra, which is where your reproductive organs are. So this is the year of really giving life and being expansive. Expansion is big in this year, right? Year of Jubilee, right? Um, so we're going to take that 7, we're going to put it into the 9, and the 9 gave us back 1 and 6. So now we have this knowledge, this intellect, taking action, being motivated, and being triggered by that 6 that we experienced on 519, right? Because 519 was the day of 6. So, so now it's like, okay, if you want to give birth to the 7, you need to take action on that 6, on the health, wellness, daily routine, your schedule, your rituals, what you're listening to, what you're speaking on, what you're teaching, and what you're learning, things like that. That's what you need to do, and that'll bring you to the 7. So yesterday, which was Friday, Holy Day, was the day of 7, which was a divine alignment, because 7 is a, a Venusian number, and in the tree of life, as well as in the Neterus. 7 is associated with the Libra scales, um, you know, and Netzach. Okay, so we have the 7 over there today. Today is 539, right? So now it's cool because this is a Saturn day. This is the Sabbath day. Saturn is Bina, which is the 3rd Sephiroth in the tree of life. This is the number of understanding. So we had the first day of knowledge, second day of wisdom. Now we're in the 3rd day of understanding. We done exercised our knowledge, and now it's bringing us to in conclusion. From my experience, now this is what I stand under, and these are the experiences that I express to people. This is the knowledge I now, or the wisdom I now express to people, because I've had these experiences which gave me the wisdom to have this level of understanding of life, or whatever have you that you're working on. You know what I'm saying? So on this day of 3, we're in divine alignment with the Sabbath energy, right? So we started the day on a 3. We take the three and we put it into, and three is also the Gemini house, communication, learning to be focused, but being adaptable and flexible at the same time. It's that sense of duality, right? Being rash and brave while also being intellectual and courageous. You know what I'm saying? When you think about the Abeji twins or the Gemini twins, whoever whatever culture, you look through the lens of, right? And so, can you do me a favor, Miles? Can you go on my YouTube and see if you can hear me?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Not watching audio live.
Okay. Whenever it's convenient for you.
Hmm?
So whenever it's convenient for you, cause
Yeah, I'll check it right now.
all right, cause somebody told me that I was low, and then other people aren't saying anything at all.
What's your live?
It's lesnobodies.
Okay.
Oh, I'm good now. Okay.
Hold on. Let me try. Oh, it's good.
Try it. Let me see if you can hear it.
Say something.
Something. Can you hear me?
It's delayed, but I can hear it.
It's delayed because you sit next to me, probably.
Yeah, that's true, but yeah, I can hear it.
Okay, cool. All right, so we have the three of understanding. Of course, we're going to enforce our understanding. This is the month of enforcement. Last month was the month of creating the blueprint, the celestial blueprint. This month we are enforcing. So we will be enforcing that three, right? Um, we'll be enforcing our sense of understanding, and that brings us to eight transformations. Eight is building, destroying, and supreme mathematics. Eight is Eight is transformations, death, and rebirth. Empowerment, secrets coming out deals with the number eight as a Scorpius energy. Scorpius rules over the eighth house. Um, and eight in the Netarus is Sebek, which is Mercury. That's Hod in the Tree of Life. Now we're getting into the celestial technicians, labeling things, compartmentalizing things in our space. That's where we get into the analytical nature of Mercury. That's where we get into the intellectual classification nature of Mercury when we're dealing with Sebek or Hod. You know what I'm saying? So that's eight. We're going to give birth to the eight. When I was talking about Sagittarius, I was talking about being in the year of nine because Sagittarius rules over the ninth house. We are in the year of nine. This is the year of being born, birth, and supreme mathematics. So we're going to give birth to this eight. We're going to put the eight into the nine, and it comes back with one and seven. The day before, on 529, that was a life path day of seven. So now we have the knowledge of the seven. Okay?
Mom,
That's what we're moving with. Huh?
important business, real quick. What's the name of our game?
The Legend of Ra. And so, now you have the one and seven. So now you have the knowledge, the motivation, the ambition, the trigger to get you moving based upon that seven, that netzach, the celestial designers making things all pretty in our space. That's what the nine is telling us we need to work on if we want to give birth to that eight, the transformations. So those are the numbers for today. Today is great for my life path numbers one, 4, 7, and 8 because y'all be about business. 22s, the master architects. This is a great day for you guys too. You guys will feel empowered to work on some business blueprints, business plan, business phone calls, organizing some things, getting some paperwork done, working on spreadsheets, just just getting to the business of things because now we're in that space of understanding. For my twos, my threes, sixes, and nines, you guys, we'll get into the exercise of that, but you guys move so more towards like teamwork with it or being around a 147 822 to assist you guys in your pursuit of trying to, solidify, find some sense of grounding, understanding, because Saturn is an earth energy, Capricorn earth energy. So, that's all in alignment with that on this day of 539. Okay. So that is the numbers for today. And I want to get into, so what I do during the planetary forecast is I talk about where the planets will be at from this new moon to new moon phase, right? We started the new moon on 4/28/9. That was a day of five. We had the 2 and 8, finding business, finding wisdom and the transformations happening around us, which brought us to knowledge in our cipher, which ultimately was knowledge. which is 1, because 2 plus 8 equals 10, that equals 1. And then we put that knowledge into the month of 4, which is Chesed, which was, cultural freedom, which brought us to the number of enforcement, because 1 plus 4 equals 5. 5 is power, it's the celestial enforcer. And then we took that number of power and put it into the year of being born, because everything we do, we're going to give birth with, right? And that brought us back to 1 and 4. So now we have the knowledge of, cultural freedom, which brought us to enforcement. So that new moon energy was a day of 5. It was a day of power, and it was kind of like, preparing us for the fact that we were entering the month of 5 of enforcement and power. So like the numbers, they be lined up, and it's real nice. To get into the horoscopes of things, as far as the ancient Kemetic calendar goes, we get 3 seasons a year. Hey, sweetie. Um, we get 4 months per season, and right now we're in the season of Shemu, which is harvest, and that's from May to September. You get a light rain around this time, but this is the time of harvesting the crops. As we know, like, horoscopes were used to, primarily for agriculture at one point in time, and then it became more ritualistic, and we started implementing other things as we became more and more complex and curious, and expanding as people. um Horus rules over this decade from April 20th to May 7th. This is the sky god. This is the energy of being ambitious, motivating, courageous, and optimistic. Starting May 8th until May 27th will be in the energy of Anubis. This is the god of mummification and the guardian of the underworld. Confident, curiosity, being introverted, like, working better alone, but still being hardworking. Those are the energies of Anubis. Again, that's from May 8th to 27th. We are in the year of gold when it comes to the alchemist year. This is about being passionate, interesting, attracting many people, being generous, kind, creating long-lasting relationships. A love of luxury and spending money is heavy here. Also, ambition and willpower is very heavy here. So you will find that being consistently and constantly invoked in you guys to tap into your ambition and your willpower throughout the year. Okay, and you see that, right, with a lot of things going on around you that's pushing you. Like, where's your will? Is your will and light in alignment with the will, of the indwelling intelligence, which we know is, from the Ketters, from the universe, God, whoever, your greater, whatever label you have for the greater entity, and how it connects us all in that space of potentiality, or, collective consciousness, however way you want to word it. Um, Love, as far as like the West African horoscope, love every day is from April 5th to May 4th. Witty, helpful, great problem solving. Learning how to say no is the key for that horoscope. So after that, May 5th to June 4th, we're in the energy of the market, which is pretty cool because we do start to catapult the festivals and things like that. And, once upon a time where we were more so like small town, village type energy, which we still are in certain respects, because we usually have majority of our festivals and vending events and things like that around this time of year. It's nicer outside. Everybody's going to the parks and having the street fairs and the carnivals and all that stuff like that. So, this is the energy of the market. Stable people with calm, prosperous lives. Learn emotional intelligence and be aware of your impulsiveness. Those are the keys for this season. As far as the Native American horoscope goes, we're in the energy of the beaver. This is from April 20th to May 20th. This is a part of the turtle clan, which is water, the water element, being physical and sensual, creating happiness and securing and security by building a dam. Um, and then you guys know we're in the year of the wood snake, a period of transformation, creativity, wisdom, and unpredictability, being flexible and having diplomacy and opportunities amongst the challenges. Physical vitality and passion resides here. So we're going to talk about the planets a bit. I'm going to get into the tropical chart, which is in relation to your mind, how you think things are. The Vedic chart, which is your body. This is the happenings and the events around you. And the Draconic chart, which is your soul's experience, right? So mind, body, and soul, tropical, Vedic, Draconic. We're going to talk about those and the different placements, and the different houses they're in. And it's going to be a great time. We're going to love it here. Um, so trying to think, what order do I want to read this off in? I'll do this part last. So, as far as the tropical chart goes, it's fun there. Uh, we start off and as far as from the ascendant line. So the ascendant line into the IC line is the first house, the second house, and the third house. The first house is the house of self. The combined aura. The second house is the house of possessions, priorities, the material things of the collective. The third house is the house of community and communication of the hey professor, of the collective, right? And then we get into our sense of belonging in the IC line, right? So right now, well, starting during the new moon, this is the new moon chart we're starting at on the tropical chart. We have gone uh, from the first house is in Capricorn. It kind of starts in Sagittarius. I ain't gonna lie. That cinder line kind of starts in Sagittarius energy. So we most likely were like in between Sagittarius and Capricorn rising during the new moon. Um, Again, Capricorn energy is about understanding. It's about the different challenges that come into our space that help us create a discipline and order that we need to obtain, maintain, and sustain ourselves and our basic resources for survival. This is where we get our basic needs from. You guys know the hierarchy of needs, and you see how they have everything color coded. And it's because a lot of psychological theories are based on spirituality and those different concepts. So when we're dealing with the Capricorn energy, we're dealing with the root chakra, we're dealing with basic needs. You know what I'm saying? We're your shelter, your discipline, your order, how are you surviving? Whenever, you guys go through something and you guys want to go to therapy or counseling or whatever, what have you, what do they say? We got to do root work. We got to get to the root of the problem. We got to talk about your inner child. How did this all start? Where did it all come from? That's all down. That's Saturn, the root of the things, right? um, which these are the challenges that we experience that help create the algorithm that we have. You know, when we tell the story of this is where I got this scar, we're explaining our Saturn. You know, so we have Saturn. Over Capricorn energy, which is ruled by Saturn. Those two words go interchange by me. I'm so sorry. I've been doing this for so long that sometimes my vocabulary just like bloop 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 bloop. Let me introduce myself. I am the goddess of the crossroads. So like I see in my head how all this intertwines. So sometimes my vocabulary will go from this to this and this and this. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. I'm here. I see y'all on all the platforms. I see the comments and stuff like that. I might not, respond right away if I'm in the middle of a thought and I'm trying to get the thought out before I forget it. But I will answer your questions. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Capricorn in the first house, we have fortune there. So tapping into that, the different the challenges, allowing them to strengthen you instead of hinder you, instead of like, we have a tendency to mislabel our strengthening challenges as trauma. Like when I go to the gym and I lift weights, I don't be like, oh my God, I was in there traumatizing myself. No, I say I was in there dealing with the challenges of the weight and I was strengthening myself, and now I'm out here and I like the results. Majority of us, we look at our trauma. Y'all know I don't like the T word. We look at our challenges and we look at them in a way that they're hindering us, but we don't realize if you didn't go through certain challenges, you wouldn't have the mindset and the heart set that you have right now. That's helping you be the person that you are. That's giving you the testimony that you have. That's giving you the perseverance and the resilience or the problem solving skills that you have. That makes you so sensitive and empathetic to other people who may be going through the same thing. So now you're helpful to them, or you're providing them with emotional intelligence. You're helping them with the things that they go on. Hey elephant, how you doing, love? Different things like that. So be mindful of that when you're talking about Capricorn experiences. You know what I'm saying? So we have the fortuner. So if you could look at it from a light standpoint of like these things give me strength, that would assist you in your fortune space. Now we get into we're still in the first house of our appearance, our overall energy. We have Pluto sitting there in Aquarius. Pluto's creating transformations and our thoughts on society, empowering us. Hey Mira, how you doing, love? Empowering us on our mindset on society, revealing some secrets. Certain things dying and being reborn. That's all Pluto sitting in Aquarius in that first house. Then we have the second house. There's no placements in the second house. That is an open field right there, and that's space of possessions and material things. So you guys take a breath, when it comes to the material things and stuff like that we're trying to pursue in the moment. Hey, Slim. Um, but that second house does go from Aquarius, which is society, into Pisces, which is the energy of hidden agendas, sensitivities, and closings, bringing things to an end. Thank you for liking the screen, Faree. Peace, peace. Hey, Big Mac. And so then we get into the third house of community and communication. This house starts off in Pisces, which is the energy of endings and hidden dreams and agendas and, things beneath the horizon, sixth sense, having a sixth sense in that level of communication, more being telepathy. Trying to say like 4 or 5 different words at the same time. Telecommunication, telepathy. Being more telepathic when we're speaking to people. Thank you. I had to think about it for a second. Um, is that combination of like Pisces and the third house. Also, in that sense of the third house, the Gemini energy is calling on you to be stable and balanced, but also being flexible and adaptable. The example I always give is like bamboo. Be like bamboo. Bamboo blows with the wind, but that joint's strong. You know what I'm saying? That is like the divine the divine energy or the mastery of Gemini. You know what I'm saying? And Pisces is bringing some like a sixth sense with that. You know what I'm saying? Things are becoming more in alignment to you spiritually. No, I don't want a lollipop right now. Thank you. Hey Ninja, how you doing, love? Um, we have the South Node there. We started off the new moon season with the South Node there. Jupiter. No, I'm sorry, not Jupiter. We had the South Node. We had Saturn, and we have Venus. And then we move into Aries energy with Neptune and Mercury. And then we have Chiron, literally sitting on the IC line. Okay. So that's all happening in the third house of community and communication. So so the facets that are coming into a close, that's tapped into your spiritual self, is the north node, the direction that we're going in. We're moving towards a more like being more sympathetic, being more tapped into our emotional self, more giving, what I'm saying, but having a balance with that. Pisces energy is also associated with the energy of Maya. That's when we get into Chesed, the fourth Sephiroth, right? Um, all those kind of energies. And that's where North Node. So collectively, that's where we're moving towards. You know what I'm saying? Um, then we have, Saturn over there ruling over our root chakra. So, the challenges that come in our space. There's some spiritual challenges coming, and it's resulting at like the non-physical realm of it is like spiritual challenges. The physical realm of it is the community that you're in versus the community that you want to be in, and the communities that you're dibble dabbling in. It's all reflections of that space. So being mindful of that. Then you got Venus there, which is the heart chakra, what you value, what you prioritize, what you find beauty in. Bringing some of those things into a closing. Learning to be flexible with how you value and prioritize those material things and your emotional self. Different facets of love, forgiveness. All of that is Venusian, energy, creativity, making things all pretty and beautiful. That's all Venusian energy. And then once we come into the Aries of the new beginnings, mind you, this is a tropical chart, so this is our thought process, right? Neptune is in that space of new beginnings, the militant energy, getting, getting it going. Um, Mercury is here too, communication, decision making, new beginnings to your routine, what you're listening to, what you're speaking on, what you're learning, what you're teaching. It's new beginnings happening there. New beginnings are happening abruptly because Mars is swift. This is the cardinal fire energy. Fire energy comes in and quickly takes things out. It grows very fast. Okay, so that's what's happening in Neptune when it comes to bringing things to a close in the community. Tapping into your dreams, your subconscious, anything hidden beneath the horizon, and your intuitive, sensitive self. Things are coming to you abruptly. It's very fast. It's very swift. Be quick in it, in your mindset. Like, spiritual things coming to you like this, just that fast. Like deja vu instantly. You watching something or experiencing something, and your sixth sense kick in instantly. Your subconscious is detecting and decoding things instantly. That's where we're at with Neptune being in Aries in the third house, and this is all in our mindset. So it's a good space for that to be at, right? And then Mercury, like I said, is attributing to how you think about your daily routine. You want to do something totally different. You want to have different decision making. You want to make different decisions. You want to do these different things, like and some of those things for some of you guys that are fighting against um like some of you guys are in your way and you're debilitating you from where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. And so you'll find like different hindrances and that happening very abruptly too, trying to realign you, especially if you're going against the things that you said you wanted, because it's like you kind of set your vortex up and now you're trying to move away from the things that you set your vortex up from. So be mindful of that. And then, like I said, we have Chiron there, and Chiron transmutes our wounds into strengths. Okay, and we move with gratitude when Chiron does that. Um, and that's in the space of new beginnings, which is heavy. Like as you know, as a collective, regardless of what species of human you are, or any animal for that matter, any like not animal. Oh yeah, I guess because it's animated. Any animated body here, you know. We're all experiencing that sense of new beginnings and our wounds and coming together a little bit more, like as far as like, okay, people learning to forgive each other, people learning how to give each other more grace, coming slowly into that mindset of we need more unity. Unity is how we make things happen, it's how we heal things, how we get things going, and not just amongst the humans but also humans and animals, in the other animal kingdoms, also in nature, with nature, things, beyond the five senses, the extra celestial bodies, all these things, coming into space of like, we've been wounded by these things, we've had wounds by these things. There's a reason why humans couldn't wait to start, you know, all the hunting and stuff like that. It's kind of like a what do you call it? Like the pendulum swinging, because once upon a time the humans was outside and being all vulnerable and being hunted and stuff like that. So now they have all these tools and things outside of themselves. Now it's like we go hunting for sport, type thing. And those are just like little mundane examples. And so, but yeah, that's all in the third house. And then we get to the IC line, which is the line of home and family. Now, before I go from IC to DC line, let's chat about the Vedic chart. Now, while the tropical chart, our mindset, how we think things are, has the first house, second house, third house, starting from, well, we'll say like the last slither. What is this? This at 29 degrees Sagittarius. That's how slither it is, that AC line in Sagittarius. But Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, and then Aries. Those are the seasons that we have in that quarter. So we are in like the winter. Yeah, we're in the winter, and then new beginning in the spring. Um, and the Vita chart of what's happening, our body, we have the AC line literally starting in Sagittarius at a 5 degree. Um, we have the fortune sitting in Sagittarius. So in our body and our experiences, hey night, having those traveling, it's a big one. So our mindset is on that Capricorn, transmuting our strengths, helping those challenges strengthen us. You know what I'm saying? Looking at those challenges to strengthen us, helping us with our discipline and order, and the events of things that is being transmuted into traveling, expanding, optimistic, tapping into our sacral chakra, you know. And our mindset, Pluto is in Aquarius in the first house. Pluto is in Capricorn in the first house on the Vedic chart. So while our mindset is on society and transformations and empowerment in society, and wearing that as a whole, and the events of things, the transformation is happening and the challenges that we're experiencing, they're happening in authority, because Capricorn also deals with authority and authoritative figures and systems and things like that. So transformations are happening there too in response to that. Now, when we get to the Draconic chart, which is the soul of things, and that first house is in Capricorn, it's in alignment with the tropical chart. So our mind and our soul has that fortune in Capricorn and our challenges, while the fortune sitting over there in our body as Sagittarius, traveling, foreign interaction, getting into interacting with other foreign countries, at cultures, different ways of doing things, all that fun stuff like that. That's all what you do with your body while your mind and your soul is in that Capricorn. Pluto is in Aquarius as well in the first house. And so while your mind and your soul is on the transformations in society and empowerment and truth coming out in society, and the events of things, Pluto is over there in Capricorn providing transformations to, the challenges that you're experiencing now, because that's where your mind is at. You know what I'm saying? You had different challenges before, now the challenges are different now because you wanted different transformations to happen with society. And while you want certain things for society, there's other people that want other things for society. So now it's like the different challenges in your physical experience, your ops have changed. You know what I'm saying? um Different things like that. And that's kind of like a, yeah, makes sense. And then the second house in the Vedic chart with the happenings is still open. This is the house of possession, and that's going from Capricorn, which is the challenges, the experience, the hardworking, the authority to society. So that second house of possessions between authority to society is open. Um, Same thing in the Draconic chart, from society to spirituality or emotion sensitivities is open when it comes to possessions. Then we get into the third house. We still got that hefty lineup. You know what I'm saying? That's how we started the new moon, with that hefty lineup. Okay. Um, and that goes from how long you've been doing this, like this, like how I do it right now with you guys. I've been doing it like this for the last 8 years. My son is about to be 11, so yeah, like the last 8 or 9 years. hmm But I've always been into stars, astrology. I love science. I've been into like the whole occultist type thing my whole life since childhood. But sitting on YouTube and doing this with you guys, yeah, like 8 or 9 years. And if you go back to my first videos, you could definitely hear the growth. I provide way more information now than I did when I first started. Um, I communicate way different now. So yeah, it definitely, yeah. I'm doing this for a minute. I think when I first started, I had a different YouTube page though, cause I don't see all the videos up here. But I do have, like, when I press the button and I see like other channels that I have from my other emails from older phones and stuff. Hey B. Okay, so in the Vedic chart and the happenings of things, we have the North Node, we have Saturn, we have Venus, Neptune, and Mercury and Chiron. We have all those placements sitting in Pisces in a space of closings. So we're providing endings, tapping into things hidden beneath the horizon. We have, being in the subconscious of things, tapped into, things beneath, beyond the fifth sense. Sixth sense, getting tapped into your sixth sense when it comes to Saturn, which rules over your root chakra, Venus, which rules over your heart chakra, Neptune rules over your chesed, which is your celestial blueprint, your divine law, Mayat, right? And Mercury ruling over your daily routine, health and wellness, how you label and compartmentalize things and analyze things in your space. And then Chiron is how you transmute your wounds into strengths. So all of these placements are coming into endings. There's endings happening here. Being more in tune, you know, utilizing your intuition more, being more sensitive, having that sense of balance, creating that celestial blueprint, all that fun stuff. Hey B, how you doing, love? Happy Saturn Day. And that's all happening in community and communication. That Gemini house, learning how to be stable and focused while being flexible and adaptable at the same time. And that's what you need to do, being in that Pisces realm, that spiritual realm. um, with those planets. And that's what you're learning, right? Aren't you learning that in your root chakra? How you obtain your resource of self and stuff? You're learning how to be flexible and adaptable at the same time. Aren't you learning that with your Venus in your place of love, emotions, and forgiveness? All facets of love, not just romantic love. I'm talking about love for self, familial love, friendship love, community love, you know, how you obtain your wealth, how you maintain and sustain your wealth, what you find beautiful, you know, material things versus and non-material things, you know, tangible and intangible, wealth and emotions. You're learning to have a sense of focus on the things that you want in those areas of your life, how you want things to be in that area of your life, what that Mayat Pisces is in that area of your life. Yet you're learning to be flexible too, because as you learn more things, it might make you go back to the drawing board and erase a couple words. um, there's this one mantra that I keep seeing in a classroom that I go to, and it's like, sometimes you don't have to change. Wait, sometimes you have to change the plan. That doesn't mean you have to change the goal. And every time I go in this classroom, I look at that and I remind myself, like, sometimes the plan's gonna have to change. That don't mean you gotta change the goal. You know what your goal is. How you gonna get there? Hey, Daniel. So, we do feel, some closings happening there with that. And don't you feel yourself having to become more flexible and adaptable in the sense of, your subconscious, how you're carrying that, your belief system, especially with all these different things coming out regarding the belief system, people that you believed in, people you had hope for. It's like, dang, the more this person talks, like, what the hell? You like this whole time? It's crazy. Um, and then, like, when it comes to your dreams too, right? Because Neptune rules over your dreams. With your internal law, your Maya. Sometimes you gotta like erase a couple of the laws that you have for yourself, and put some new ones there because the other ones aren't serving you. They might be restricting your sacral chakra. They might be given to over activity to your solar plexus chakra. They might not be protecting your heart chakra well enough. It might be suppressing or blocking your throat chakra. We don't know. You do. And then you feel that need to become more flexible and adaptable yet focused in Mercury. Most definitely, Mercury deals with your daily routine and your schedule, your habits, your moral and integral code. You definitely have to be flexible and adaptable in that realm of things, especially when it comes to your schedule, because so many little things that's happening around us, right? And but still be focused. Like I said, sometimes you gotta change the plan. It doesn't mean you're gonna change the goal. These also deal with three is the house of community and communication, being more sensitive in these spaces with these planets. You know what I'm saying? Having more sensitivities to the different challenges that people in your community are going through, and having more sensitivity when you're communicating with people in the challenges that they're going through with Saturn, right? When we deal with Venus, having more sensitivities and being more empathetic in your community and how they're dealing with their possessions and their emotional self. With Neptune, having more sensitivities and consideration when it comes to your community and while you're communicating about people's dreams and their subconscious and their intuitive and spiritual self. Same thing with Mercury, having more sensitivity and empathy when it comes to your community and how you communicate with people's moral and integral code, what they're teaching and what they're learning about, their daily routine and their schedule. Like, this is what we're working on, that space of endings, and awareness. So that's mind, body, and soul from the new moon, right? The first, how we started the new moon. You know what I'm saying? Um, when we move from the first house to the fourth house, and for the next new moon is May 26th, 2025. So 5/26/9. 2/6, finding balance, justice, truth, and harmony in the sixth, which is Tepereth. Health, wellness, daily routine. That's the Virgo house. This is the equality. You know what I'm saying? So you're finding truth in that. And I bring you to 8, transformations and empowerment. 8 goes into 5 because of course we want to enforce that 8, right? 5 is power and enforcement. 5 is Leo energy, confidence and courageousness, creativity. And that brings it to 13, which is a karmic number, because it's a karmic number because in this society, this is one of the most difficult tasks we have to do. Take action on how you feel in a society that's teaching you to be ashamed of how you feel. No new feelings. Get out your feelings. Your feelings don't matter. You're being sensitive. You're doing too much. It's not that deep. No, it is always that deep. It's water everywhere. It's gonna always be that deep. You know what I'm saying? So, that's why 13 is a karmic debt number, because throughout history we have seen what happens when people act on and express how they feel, especially when it goes against the grain, right? Um, and that brings us to four, which is chesed, which is cultural freedom. Once you activate that 13, doesn't that create cultural freedom? Doesn't that create the energy in my yacht? Balances those law, justice, and truth scales. And then we're gonna take that four and we're gonna put it into the year of nine. And the year of nine is like, okay, you want this four? Go back to 13. So 526-9, definitely some karmic energy happening. Opportunities to speak up, stand up on some things. Look, my brain immediately went to some type of activism, some type of marching, or some type of like rebuttal speak talking thing. But overall it's a day of four, you know what I'm saying? And it's being brought to us by a karmic experiencing the taking action, and then also having that knowledge on your understanding, you know what I'm saying? Aligning the limitations and things to what you know. um so on that new moon day, what we have going from the first house, the AC line, which is the energy we give off, that line is starting in Capricorn, definitely in Capricorn at this point. And the mind and the soul are pretty much in the same zodiac at different degrees. As you notice, the tropical and the draconic have gotten more closer. At one point in time, the draconic was more so with the Vedic chart, which was interesting because everybody was having like heavy spiritual activities, events happening. Now it's more so in your mindset, as the tropical and the draconic chart are more so aligned. And it's just like I said, it's a few degrees apart. Like the AC line on the tropical chart is at 14 degrees, 1 and 4, having that knowledge on the chest, which brings us to 5, enforcement. Meanwhile, on the draconic chart, it's at a 2. It's at 20 degrees. So finding that wisdom in your cipher on the ascendant line in Capricorn, which is what I say, the challenges that we experience that strengthen us, and authority, who has authority over us, limitations, restrictions, discipline, and order. You know what I'm saying? Um, Fortune is there right on the AC line. So on our mind and soul, being tapped into that Capricorn energy of those challenges in our space. That's why I said my mind went straight to like activism and marching and something along the lines that's going to invoke that kind of activity. I feel on a new moon or around a new moon to invoke that kind of energy. We about to walk into the summer solstice, so in June. So like we'll be in a space where like they definitely be doing the red summers and stuff like that. So like kind of like introducing that kind of energy. The fortune on the Vedic chart is in Sagittarius at a 19 degree, which is knowledge being born. Ultimately, it's the energy of knowledge. So while those things are happening in our mind, when it comes to transmuting the challenges and the authority and the events, as far as our body goes, is expansion and abundance and being optimistic, foreign interaction, traveling. Hey Adonis, peace, peace. Thank you, Ninja. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you. My sister is texting me. She gave my Instagram to some people. So we're in the first house during the new moon, and the first house goes up into Aquarius. We still have Pluto sitting in the first house, providing transformations there, and that's pretty cool. Transformations, empowerment, revealing secrets in society, and again, that's in the realms of our mindset in the draconic chart, which is the spiritual set, and the events of things, our body. The Pluto is in Capricorn, providing transformations to our authority itself. Pluto is providing transformations to the challenge that we experience. Um, how we utilize them to strengthen us, all that fun stuff. So while our mind is on the transformation, and let me go back for a second, or forward. Hold on a second, because I do have a slide where I compare the two. So when we first start the new moon energy on the tropical chart, we have Pluto at 3 degrees. Okay, so Pluto's still at 3 degrees. We didn't really go nowhere in the degree department. We're still there. So let me go back. I just want to see. just want to see that real quick. So when we get into the second house, now we starting to have some placements in the second house by the time we get to um the next new moon on the 26th. We have the second house now starting in Aquarius, the house of possessions, and that balance between the material and the intangible. And that is gonna be it's gonna be at 3 degrees the whole retrograde. Okay, cool. Um, so the house of possessions is in Aquarius now, which is like, society not possessing things, and the north node will be there at a 29 degree. Now tropically speaking, the north node is in the second house in Pisces. So the direction that we're moving into, is towards the possessions, spiritual return here. I like that. So it's like birthright energy here, and that's really cool. um Saturn is also here at a 0 degree Aries, which is the challenges, new beginnings to the challenges we experience, new beginnings to the authority of self. Aries also deals with military. Again, it's giving activism. It's giving march. It's giving somebody giving a lecture about something. It's giving. It's somebody's. I feel anger. I feel societal anger. That's what it's giving. Um, like some type of, how they do. It's always like a big boom to shake the world on these screens. But yeah, Saturn is sitting there at 0 degrees in Aries in the second house of possession as well. So new challenges happening to that balance of the material and emotional self. And then we kind of have Neptune sitting on the line at 1 degree Aries. That was sitting right on the line between the second house and the third house. But again, new beginnings to your subconscious self, you know, new beginnings as you bring things to a close, to an end, definitely. Your dreamlike self, like I be telling y'all, while you see these transformations happening in the physical world, while Pluto is doing what it's doing in Capricorn and Pisces, how it's straddling between Capricorn and Pisces, is providing transformations, death and rebirth, and revealing truths to, societal authority, right? To empires, right? What's happening with that's what's happening below. Now what's happening above in the subconscious realm, bless you baby, Neptune had been in Pisces for a while, bringing a lot of spirituality things to an end, right? A lot of ritualistic things to an end, to a close. So just like down here, people have been having their day in court, people been having their summons, this, that, and the third. That's what's been happening above too. Energies are being created and destroyed, transmuted. No energy can be created or destroyed. Energy is being transmuted, okay, up and as above, so below type. And so now we Neptune has exited that energy of endings and moving into that space of beginnings now. So now it's like you might see a lot of different leaders ascend with the intentions of replacing that energy that had to go away. Because like we're on earth and we see these humans and they're doing these crazy rituals and they're doing this, that, and the third, and we're like, what the hell? In the same breath, there are entities that are responding to what they're doing. And so those entities have to, there has to be some retribution with those entities that have been responding. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so that's what's happening, as above, so below, right? It's like I started doing some nut shit. My what do you call them? My guardian angels. As long as I do my rituals or whatever on certain days that we've agreed upon, they'll let me do the nut shit that I'm doing, and they'll help me, and they'll expand it for me, and they're gonna do all these things with me. You know what I mean? Make sure I get it done. So now I'm down here in court because I've been doing a bunch of illegal human shit, and they up there in court because they've been doing a lot of illegal spiritual stuff to help me do my illegal human shit. So we both seeing our day in court at the same time. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Um. Then you have we come into the third house. Now we're officially in the third house, y'all. Now, tropically speaking, we do the third house starts in Aries and in Taurus. That's in our mindset and the body. The third house starts in Pisces and in Aries. So from end to beginning. And the draconic chart, the third house starts in Aries to Taurus. This is different degrees. You know what I'm saying? Um, we have Venus and Chiron sitting in our third house. In our mindset of things, we will have Venus sitting in Aries in the third house at 20 degrees, so finding wisdom in our cipher, hey slime. Chiron will be at 25 degrees, so finding wisdom in our power, which will bring us closer to God. 2 and 5 come together, make 7 in the third house. So new beginnings as a community, because third house is community, right? And how we communicate, to how our wounds and how we strengthen each other, our wounds. Um, Now, in the body and sidereally speaking, in the third house, we have uh, Venus still in Pisces. So we have the North Node in Aquarius in the second house, moving us towards like societies at a 29 degree of mastery. So if my master teachers, my master life pathers, you guys are probably be on the forefront. Something happening with somebody that's an 11 life path, and people following behind that to like a big degree, um, or some definitely like a business owner, somebody like with great wealth. Uh, 5 degree Saturn. So Saturn is at that degree of power in Pisces, um, with the strength and the challenges in the spiritual realm. Uh, Neptune is at 7 degrees, at that God degree, right on the line between the second and the third house, between being possessive and community and communication. Now, when we get into the house of community and communication, we have Venus there at a 26 degree, finding wisdom in our sense of equality, which brings us transformations and empowerment. Venus is yeah, Venus is in Pisces in the third house, bringing things to a close in our community as far as like wealth, certain wealth things that go. So, oh, it might be a stock market thing. I hope it's housing. We'll see when we get to the fourth house of housing. Um, and then Chiron is sitting over there in Aries at 1 degree Aries, providing new beginnings to our wounds. And you know the draconic chart, our spiritual experiences in alignment with our tropical, except the tropical, our mindset has the North Node in Pisces, while on the draconic chart it's in Aries, it's in new beginnings. And then Saturn and Neptune and is also in new beginnings in the second house. The houses are always the same, whether you're a tropical, Vedic, or draconic. If you're using the Placidius houses, the houses are always the same. It's the degrees and the zodiacs that change between the three for the most part. Um, but Venus is in at 26 degrees in Aries, and then Taurus is at a 1 degree. I mean Taurus. Chiron is at a 1 degree in Taurus. So transmuting our wounds in that and what we value in the third house as a community. That's nice. I like that there. That's opening the door for some dope things. But we got a little bit of time before Chiron enters Taurus in the um Vita chart, because that's what we will really be waiting for. If we're going to wait on something to actually happen, if we are waiting on anything, yeah, Chiron would have to enter the Taurus constellation. um Trying to see if I've seen anything, and I don't. So that might not be happening this year. Especially because it's at a 1 degree, and Chiron kind of spends a lot of time in Aries. Venus progrades and retrogrades. Yeah, because the Chiron retrograde goes from July 30th to January 2nd, and that starts at 27 degrees Aries, and it's going to end at 22 degrees Aries. So yeah, we're not gonna have that transit till probably next year. That's gonna be cool though. I ain't gonna hold you, because that's gonna be the year of the horse. That's my year, y'all. I'm a horse again. Um, and we'll be back at the year of one, which would be pretty interesting. I'm gonna hold down. Okay, I have Chiron exiting Aries October 19th, 2026. See, I'll be on it. I'll be on it, y'all. I'll be on it. All right, so let's get back to it. go back. All right, so coming back to the new moon that we started the season on, when we deal with the fourth house, we deal with a sense of home and family, our sense of belonging. Where do we fit in at? We come into the fourth house. The fourth house and our mindset of things started in Aries, so it was new beginnings to our sense of home and family and belonging. We had in our mindset, we had Chiron sitting right on the line of it. What is this a picture of? Oh, it's a deer. Yeah, we had Chiron sitting right on the line of it. Uh, and that was in Aries and new beginnings in our mindset. Chiron is sitting on a Pisces line in our body. So in the event is we're transmuting our emotional self, our sensitivities, bringing things to a close. While in our mind we're bringing things to a new, and in our spirit we're also bringing things to a new in that fourth house. And we also started off the new moon with the moon and the sun, in the fourth house. The sun's spending the majority of this year, if not all this year. I think it's all this year in the fourth house of home and family. Fourth house is ruled by Cancer too, which is really cool because we're in the year of 9, which is your Yesod, your Moja, ruled by Cancer. So this year is being brought to us by experiencing our home and family, and our sense of belonging. This is the perfect year to find your tribe, and I would say that in the physical form too, in mind, body, and soul, not just in our mindset, not just in the ones and zeros online. Like we've been doing that. We did that heavy in the year 7, the year 8. So now in the year 9, it's like really time to go and move into those spaces. Now I talk about this heavy about not being tapped into your authenticity, and some of you guys are not, and you guys are still fighting your authenticity, so you can stay where you're at, and that's cool. I get it, because when I speak to y'all, I be speaking to myself. But in the breath of doing that, remember you're going to be starting the year of 1 next year, and that's going to be brought to us by 2026. Finding wisdom in our cipher and wisdom in our sense of equality. What you give is what you're going to get, and it's going to add a little +1 to it. You know what I'm saying? So be mindful of that as we continue. We closely make our way up to the next quarter of the season. We'll be at mid. Well, I mean, it depends on when your New Year's is. Otherwise, we've finished the first quarter. So we're either at mid quarter or first quarter. Depends on what your calendar looks like. um, Let me rewind back. Let's go back to the fourth house. So yeah, we got our sun and moon there. Thank you, Devin. I appreciate that. Which is our emotional self, our self at our comfort zone. You know what I'm saying, and then our external self, our masculine self on the outside of things. How we interact with masculine energy. So as far as our experience and experience, um, in our body and our happenings was in new beginnings in the fourth house. Now in our mindset, the moon was and the sun are in Taurus as well as in the draconic. So mind and spirit have that experience and experience in that space of possessions, and what we value, prioritize, was beautiful to us in our heart chakra of things. You know what I'm saying? And self-esteem, all that fun stuff, what we find beauty in, and that's all in the fourth house, sense of bond. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that might be a thing. What you value and what you prioritize. Some of you guys are being pushed to even prioritize where you belong. You've gotten so comfortable and so used to ostracizing yourself and being out here and doing this over there. It's a part of your, part of yourself feel like maybe you don't value up to, or other people don't value up to, depending on where you at in your life. I don't know. But that's what's happening there in your mindset. Um, so then we get into the fifth house. The fifth house is the house of Leo. This is your house of your creative self, your inner child work here. We also get into like the lineage, patriarchal stuff, all that fun stuff there is in the fifth house. We have Uranus in the fifth house on the mind, body, and soul. Uranus is in the fifth house in Taurus energy, providing progressive pushes in what we value and prioritize in our creative self. Um, Uranus is in the fifth house and Taurus on our body. It's at a 1 degree, so we just entered Taurus energy. Uranus is in Gemini on our draconic chart, providing progressive pushes in our community and communication, learning how to be, focused and flexible, and in that house of creativity, you know what I'm saying, in that house of the inner child. So that's pretty cool there. And then we get into the sixth house. Um, in our mind, the sixth house has Jupiter and Gemini, um, providing expansion and abundance. In our mindset, being more optimistic, foreign interactions in our community, and applicating that into our daily routine. Some of you guys are moving out the country. Some of you guys have people from out the country becoming more and more inclusive in your space. Um, Engaging in business, transactions, because Jupiter deals with business as well, long-term goals, all that fun stuff like that. Jupiter also deals with traveling. I don't know if I said that already, but Jupiter, that's what Jupiter does. Now, in our body of things, Jupiter is providing that expansion and abundance in Taurus energy, what we value and what we prioritize. It's giving us that wisdom from the oracle and sages in those realms of things too, especially when it comes to wealth and love. And again, all this is in the sixth house. Now they say the sixth house is like a house of disease or whatever, but I it seems that way because a lot of people don't do things on a daily basis. Certain activities is kind of easy to fall off of when it comes to health, and when you do, like the sixth house like beats you down about it tremendously. And so as long as you have like that routine and moral code, and you're exercising your brain and your body and da da da, the sixth house can definitely be to your benefit. It's just all about having like a schedule, a routine, a daily discipline. You know what I'm saying? Where Jupiter deals with like long term planning and big goals, the fact that it's in the sixth house will help you take that big goal, that expanded, mindset, and put it into bite sized pieces, which is pretty cool. Um, Now in our soul, we still have Jupiter sitting in Gemini in the sixth house, so providing expansion and abundance in our community and communication on the daily routine, on the schedule. And then we get into the DC line, and now we have a balance because AC line was how we exerted ourselves. The IC line was how we were being received, like, oh, we like you, come over here, we belong. And then the DC line is now a balance between how I exert myself and how people are receiving me. And then there's also like a midpoint between the DC line is like a midpoint between the IC line, how people are receiving me, and then the MC line is, how I'm exerting myself to be received. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that balance, between give and take, if you will. Um, is the DC line is opposite AC line because AC line is like me by myself. DC line is more like we. AC is one. That's the cardinal fire energy. Do think about myself. I'm a leader. DC line is seven. That's interpersonal relationships. We go together. We do these things together. Okay. So though that's the opposition there, and then that's the science between the DC line being between the IC of reception and the MC line of me exerting myself to be received. Um. So we like balances here. In a nutshell. But let's go to the next new moon first, before I expand on that. So next new moon on 5/26/9, we have the IC line starting in Taurus in our mindset. We have Uranus there in the fourth house of home and family and sense of belonging, which is interesting. Oh yeah, I told you guys a fib. I wasn't even paying attention. I was paying attention, but I wasn't paying attention. So we will be having the sun exiting out of the fourth house. By the end of this month, the sun will be in the fifth house, which is cool and interesting. So you move more in that confidence and courageous energy. But let's talk about the fourth house real quick. Uranus is providing expansion and abundance into that fourth house of home and family and sense of belonging, and what we prioritize. That's what's happening in our mindset. In the energy exchanges of things, Uranus is in Taurus as well. That's our body. It's at a 3 degree, whereas in our mindset it's at a 27 degree. And it's so of providing those progressive pushes, and what we value and prioritize in our sense of home and family. That's really fly. And then in the draconic chart, Uranus is over there in Gemini energy, providing those progressive pushes to our community, communication, focus, and flexibility in that fourth house. And so it's pretty much setting the tone for when tropically that Uranus goes into Gemini, and now our mindset is on expanding it and being progressively pushed in our community and communication. And you'll see like the shift of the lineup of planets start to expand as, of course, our outer planet like Saturn and Neptune are going to stay in that Aries Pisces area for a little bit longer, but the other planets like Venus and Chiron are going to keep moving forward into Taurus. So now we're starting to have that lineup move more towards like Taurus Gemini energy. All right, so we're moving further and further away from that Pisces, Aries, cluster of celestial bodies that we've been experiencing for the past few months now. Okay, and you'll start to see more expansion around the wheel. In the fifth house, so now we're dealing with that Leo house energy of creativity. We have Mercury dealing with our daily routine, our decision making mind. And your decision making mind on a tropical chart is in Gemini in the fifth house. So being confident and courageous with your ability to be flexible and focused in your daily routine and moral and integral code and stuff like that is cool. The sun and moon will also be there, of course, because it's a new moon. So we'll have that nice alignment between the planets, Uranus, Mercury, Sun, Moon, and then Jupiter is also in Gemini in the sixth house. So we have that planetary lineup happening during the new moon. Um, and so that's your experience and experience happening with Gemini, your community and communication, and being more confident in that. So, in the month of June, it'll be more like, yeah, you guys actually, a lot of you guys will be moving between like May and June. A lot of you guys are moving more towards the community you're supposed to be at. Some of you guys will be moving to places that you guys didn't even think of yet. It's going to be like that Uranus. That Uranus providing that progressive push and what you value and what you prioritize. And it's going to push you right into the space of a whole different community you didn't know you was going to be at yet. And you're like, oh wow, this is crazy. This is definitely in divine alignment with exactly what I said I wanted. Like so crazy, and it just keeps getting better and better the more I sit in this. It's that kind of situation. Then in the sixth house of daily routine, health, and wellness, on the mindset of things, you got Jupiter providing expansion and abundance in your ability to be focused and flexible. And the Vedic chart and the happenings, you have Jupiter sitting there over there as well. And then in the Draconic chart in our spiritual self, Jupiter is already moved on into Cancer at 3 degrees in Cancer and in the sixth house. So we already have that expansion and abundance happening in your nurturing self, your emotional self. Um, you know, maternal energy, feminine energy is definitely big here. And then we come into the sixth house. Tropically and Draconic, this the seventh house or the DC line starts in Cancer energy. So that's that that balance, the interpersonal relationships, bonds, and contracts is starting in that space of belonging, emotional connectivity, and stuff like that. So that's what we're looking for in our bonds. Are we emotionally connected? Are we intuitively connected? Because Cancer deals with the third eye, right? Cancer also deals with the below, with Yesod, the ninth sephira of giving birth to things. So are we in tune with where we want to give birth? Are we in tune in our womb healing? Are we in tune in our sacral chakra, our reproductive stuff? Are we in tune with our experience and our introverted self? All these different things, these different, questions. Yeah, the candle is burning. I mean, the incense is burning. Um, but that's all there in the DC line. So now we move on. Now we're in the seventh house. So seventh house is, like I said, that's the Libra house. Law, justice, truth, and righteousness, interpersonal relationships, bonds and contracts. Marriages is a big one here too. Mindset speaking on 427.9, how we started off this energy. We have the seventh house. It starts off in Gemini at the 29 degree because the ascendant line started off at the 29 degree in Sagittarius. So the DC line is ruled by Gemini, which is really cool. So some of you guys are really going to find some really strong bonds there with that seventh house line starting in Gemini. Both air energies dealing with connectivity to one another, right? Um, and then the seventh house is majority in Cancer and a little bit in Leo. So there's no major celestial, because I'm sure you'll find an asteroid or a comet or something over there. But in the Leo zodiac, Mars is sitting over there in the seventh house, so being motivated and triggered to have those interpersonal relationships, law, justice, truth, and righteousness, and being confident and courageous about setting the tone for them is heavy. Was heavy when we started the new moon cycle. And the experience of things on the Vedic chart, Mars is sitting in the seventh house in Cancer. The DC line actually starts in Gemini on the Vedic chart. Um, so again, like I said, providing those two air energies and that connectivity. And then Mars is sitting over there in Cancer. That's into home and family, belonging, maternal energy, being nurturing to your solar plexus chakra, and allowing that nurturing to, your triggers, your ambition, what motivates you, what gives you that confidence, get you going, will help you in pursuit of, law, justice, truth, and righteousness, and those interpersonal relationships, what you need in those things. And then in the draconic chart, you have Mars sitting in Leo in the seventh house as well, like in your mind. The degrees are just a little bit further apart. Like on the tropical in your mind, we're at a 3 degree, which is understanding, creation, and expression. On the draconic chart, our spiritual self, we're at an 8 degree, which is transformations and empowerment. Okay, so that's what's happening to your solar plexus chakra. Hey, tarot. Then we get into the eighth house, the house of transformation, death and rebirth. Empowerment is heavy here. You know, revealing things, revelations, right? And so we have the vertex here. So what we're attracting, we're attracting the transformations that we need, and that's how we're starting the new moon energy on those transformations. And that's in Leo energy. Not right now, tarot. If you can come back in like a half hour or so, I'm definitely with it. Or you could sit here for a half hour. It's up to you. Um, but yeah, so the vertex, what we're, attracting is the transformations from our heart. Because Leo deals with your heart. It deals with your emotional self. It deals with your creative self, your confidence and creation, creativity. You know what I'm saying? Leo is your Tippereth, the heart that's on fire. Leo also has the stars that deal with riches and power and glory, and the heart of the lion star, and like Regulus, and gotta think about the different stars that's in the Leo constellation. You know, you're dealing with some heavy, like, yeah, Sentinel over there in Gemini. Oh, okay. I I'll be here all day if I got into the asteroid chart with y'all. I'll be here all day. But Sentinel's a good one too. So the spiritual community as a collective is in that space of building community. The spiritual community is definitely like there, there. And important. You know what I'm saying? And when I talk to y'all, I talk to myself because I like being alone. I love my community though, but I do like being alone. Um, but yeah, the vertex is there. And then in the Vita chart, as far as the body, the happenings go, the vertex is in Cancer, providing transformations to the nurturing self, your emotional self. Revelations happening there too. And the Draconic chart, which is your spiritual experience, same thing as the tropical chart. The vertex is over there in Leo in the eighth house. It's at a 14 degree, 1 and 4, having knowledge and taking initiative on that 4, that chesed, which brings power, 5. Um, and the tropical chart is at a 10 degree. So it's knowledge in the space of knowledge. So mindset on knowledge, soul is on power, body is on 1 and 6, and Cancer, which is, having that knowledge and daily routine, bring you closer to God, and that's his home and family. We love it here. Then we get into the ninth house. The ninth house starts in that Virgo energy. So, expansion, abundance, foreign interaction, traveling is heavy here. Generosity, your philanthropic self, giving to others and stuff like that. Um, we do have the South Node here sitting in Virgo in the ninth house. So, our comfort self. That's the Ketu. Where do we come from? Where is our comfort at? It was like a lot to do in our education, our training, right? Being of service to people, helping, all that fun stuff. That's heavy Virgo energy. What we've been learning, our education, right? Not a comfort stuff, what we've been taught, So now we're expanding it. We're being more optimistic. We're growing in it. We're getting more wisdom from the oracle and the sages with that, what I'm saying, in that comfort space. In the Vedic chart and the body chart, same thing. It's that in that space, the South Node is in at a 1 degree, whereas in the tropical chart, the mindset is at 25, finding wisdom in that power, which brings you closer to God. Um, in the draconic chart, the South Node has moved on to Libra energy, finding that balance, justice and truth. So the justice system, what I'm saying, that energy in my yacht is the comfort zone on our spiritual self. It's moved on to that space and being expanded, and having that wisdom and that optimism in that space there. That's how we start. That's how we started. How did we end up? How we gonna end up? Um, Majority of our planets are down at the bottom right now between the winter. They're all, most of them are beneath the horizon from the winter zodiacs to the spring zodiacs. We don't, but we do have some celestial bodies happening, popping off in the summer zodiacs right now. So we'll get into it. Let's get into it. So the seventh house, we have Mars at an 18 degree, 1 and 8, which is the solar plexus chakra, 1 being Aries and 8 being Scorpius energy, providing transformations that Aries, ordains or demands or triggers or motivates. Which brings to 9, something being born right there in that Leo energy in the seventh house, being confident, courageous in your interpersonal bonds and contracts. Law, justice, and the truth heavy there too. The vertex is also sitting right there at a 21 degree, which is 3 degrees away from Aries. So you're really going to attract where your solar plexus chakra is at. So yeah, heavy solar plexus chakra work um, happening for those guys that want to play on that. Um, in the Vedic chart, as far as our body goes, these two celestial spaces are in Cancer. So we're nurturing them in there. We're figuring out where they belong. Where does your solar plexus belong? What is it attracting? What kind of interpersonal relationships is it attracting? What kind of justice is meant for you? You know what I'm saying? What's motivating you? So listening to your gut, setting the tone off to listening to your gut is heavy there. I like that. And then in our draconic chart, Mars and the vertex are sitting over there in Leo. The degrees are a little different. We're at 18 and 21 on our mind. But in the draconic chart, we're at 24, 27. So wisdom and our chesed, which is our, mayat, wisdom and our mayat, which brings us to 6, equality. Um, or, tiparef, confidence and courageousness. And then 2 and 7, wisdom, and God. Or, prioritizing and yeah, where was I going with that? 2 being the Taurus house, what we value, and 7. Those are 2 Venusian numbers, 2 and 7, right? Which bring us to 9, giving birth with your heart. Vertex V, that the number 4, Venus, the number 4, vibration, the number 4. So we're in that space. So manifesting with your solar plexus chakra, your gut, and what you want it to attract in the space is a big there too. Then we get into the 8th house of transformation, building and destroying. We have the South Node still sitting there. The South Node is in Virgo at 23 degrees, 2 and 3 in our mindset, and Virgo energy. Still find that comfort zone in our education. And the body of the things, the South Node is at a 29 degree of mastery after they find that wisdom on giving birth to things and Leo energy. And then on the Draconic chart, which is our spiritual self, we're at 0 degrees Libra. So our soul, 0 degrees is a very easy degree to walk into because it's like it brings things like almost immediately in our space. So law, justice, truth, and righteousness, and being, at that comfort zone. So then we get into the 9th house of expansion and abundance. Um, Traveling, optimism. The 9th house is a Sagittarius house ruled by Jupiter. Um, that starts off in Libra energy, so expansion happening there, some long-term planning happening there, but that line ends off in Scorpio. And we have Lilith sitting like right there on that line at 6 degrees in Scorpio, while the MC line starts at 8 degrees. So it's like 2 degree difference between the MC line and Lilith. And so Dark Moon Lilith sitting in Scorpio is fun. We like it there. Interesting. Primordial goddess. Some Scorpios gonna come to the forefront. Cause listen, when Lilith was in Libra, we had a lot of Libras, pull up and was doing, crazy work. Um, and so, I'm when Lilith was in Virgo, that's when Cat Williams was on Club Shay Shay acting up. Dave Chappelle was doing his thing. Um, who else? That's one more person. Oh, that's when Kiki Palmer, she had her big glow up thing, And then when the Libras, that's when, we had the Kamala Harris, she's a Libra. And Cardi B started doing a bunch of shit on the internet. Whatever other Libra y'all could think of. I can't think of nobody else, but those are the two main ones that came to my head right now. Um, all that crazy stuff. Oh, Will Smith, uh, doing the things. There's a whole thing there. But yeah, so you'll see some Scorpios acting up with the act up, and they've been planning this because it's in the ninth house. So don't believe them when they say it's impulsive. It might be that Sagittarius fire impulsivity, but I'm not buying it. This was planned and organized. In the Vedic chart, Lilith is sitting over there in Libra. So in our happenings, we might still be the mindset of the Scorpio be bringing some things to law and order. So it might be some Scorpios in politics or something like that, or trying to influence politics, or like some Scorpios that's married, some like crazy like here's the truth. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So things on that nature. And then Lilith is over there in Scorpio on the Draconic chart. Degrees is just different. While Lilith is at a 6th degree, which is that degree of Tippereth, daily routine, health and wellness, teaching and learning. That's that Virgo number, and equality. It's at 13 degrees. It's at a karmic debt number at that in the Draconic chart, which is pretty interesting. So this individual is definitely going to be somebody that speaks up and goes against the grain. So now we've officially made it to the last quarter, you guys. You ready? So, as far as how we started the new moon energy, we don't really have too many celestial bodies in this quarter, at least when we started the new moon. This is actually where we have Lilith at, and Lilith is the only celestial body between the MC and the AC line. So, when we go from the MC line, this is like that, how we exert ourselves, to be received, and then not and then the AC line is in the middle because it's how we exert ourselves, and then the IC line is how we're received. You know what I'm saying? And then it makes us comfortable enough to exert ourselves because that's our sense of belonging. You guys accept me? Oh my God, I'm about to be myself. You ready? Like it's like one of those. But then the MC line is like, this is how I'm going to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? And then the AC line is just like, solo dolo. Accept me or not, I don't give a fuck. This is who I am. This is me by myself. That's what I do. Okay. Um, so we get to the MC line. This is the line of achievements and success. You know, what it looks like to you. You know what I'm saying, and also, how you expect others to behave if they want to be, successful. You know what I'm saying? Lilith, like I said, is the only celestial body here. The 10th house is in the 10th house, so tapping into that primordial goddess is that's the thing to do, I guess. The mindset is in Scorpius energy, so empowerment, transformations, death, rebirth, being in tune with the spiritual stuff, because this is fixed waters, deep waters at that. Um, all that fun stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's all there. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a Scorpio brewing between new moon and new moon. What was there a Scorpio acting up? Did we have a Scorpio acting up on somewhere? I don't really know everybody's zodiacs. That's not something I specialize in. I don't think that it's something I want to specialize in. That's what I got y'all for. But yeah, in the Vedic chart and actual happenings of things, we have Lilith sitting over there in Libra. So this got to be somebody that's trying to influence politics or has an influence on politics. Trying to do some type of something with that, or a bonds and contracts. Providing transformations to the bonds and contracts. Going back to some primordial bonds and contracts that we initially had. Like, wait a minute, what about that peace and friendship treaties? What about them treaties you signed, homie? Like, um, birth certificates, social security contracts, you know, different things like that. Transformations, empowering transformations happening there. And then some of you guys will be signing, different contracts too to bring you more to closer to your success and your power. The Draconic chart is also in Scorpius energy. We have the 11th house, the house of society, starting in Scorpius energy. So, why those of you guys who do tap into your primordial energy of Lilith, We're moving into 11th house, pouring it into society. Transformation happening in society, and it's leading us to expansion, which is Sagittarius energy. And then we have, and that's happening on a tropical and the draconic chart. Now in the Vedic chart, the 11th house starts in Libra, so starting over in that balance and harmony and justice and righteousness, and then it's going into that house, that zodiac of transformation. You know what I'm saying? So as we becoming more righteous, transformations are occurring, and that's going to happen because you guys are tapping into that primordial energy, and y'all are demanding the transformations that need to happen. Y'all killing a lot of stuff off, a lot of things that fall into its place, and we love it there. Um, yeah, it's definitely rebellious energy. So it's gotta be something that's been brewing this whole time. I'm trying to. I'm gonna get back into like the current events and stuff like that, like I used to be with y'all. I'll just be in my bubble, and I really like it here. I ain't gonna hold you. I love it here so much. And then we have the 12th house, the house of closings and endings. And again, no celestial bodies there as far as when we started the new moon phase. That line started over there in Sagittarius, and expansion and abundance, long term planning, generosity and philanthropy, as well as in our space of wisdom. And so, I'm closing some things up in that space, in that spiritual space, and it's fun there. And the events of things, we have the 12th house beginning in that Scorpius energy, transformations happening, some endings to some transformations. Some of you guys getting to the other side of some of those transformations, and that's cool too. Um, when we get into the last quarter of the next new moon on 5/26/9, we have that MC line, like Pluto's on the other side of the MC line. It's not really on there. We don't have any celestial bodies at all in this quarter when we move to the next new moon. The 10th house is starting in Scorpius energy, transformation to that space of success. The 11th house of society is an expansion and abundance, generosity and optimism. So y'all start moving, start communicating, start talking to people, start building, start making moves. The 12th house is the house of closings, and it starts in Sagittarius energy in that space of expansion and long-term planning, and it closes off in Capricorn, and that's in our mindset of things. And the events, the 10th house starts over in Libra, the law, justice, truth, and righteousness, success, and the balance of things and the contracts, and then it ends off in transformations and empowerment and revealing some truths. And then the 11th house of society is only in that space of transformation. And then the 12th house starts off in Scorpius energy. Scorpius energy is talking three houses, baby. Not playing with that last quarter. Okay, I fucks with it. Um, and then you have, the 12th house of closings, ending in Sagittarius energy. I really like that though. Scorpius energy touching three houses is wild. Who else is touching three houses? Taurus. So Scorpio and Taurus is touching three houses. So from the transformations to what you value and prioritize, they not playing. Those two energies is heavy. It's very heavy for my Scorpios and Taurus. Y'all got big jobs. Y'all got big jobs. So that is from new moon to new moon. You know, some different things. Y'all know I do my planetary forecast when I do that, so I'm not gonna sit here and give you guys all those details to that at this moment, because then y'all wouldn't show up until my mathematics. No. But during this period of time, this is the last chance to get a full view of Jupiter and the Taurus Gemini constellation before it's out of sight in the summertime. Because what happens is, so while the sun is currently in Aries constellation, Taurus zodiac, what's happening is the Earth is in opposition, right? The sun is, Earth, we're looking at the sun and judging the sun from where we're at. So if we think the sun is over there compared to us, then we are in the opposite position, which makes us in Libra Virgo, right? Because that's Aries. It's Aries Taurus. No, because the opposite of Taurus is Scorpio. So it's uh my bad. It's Libra Scorpio. So Earth is in Libra Scorpio. So the planets that move more towards that area, um, we'll be seeing more. So as the Earth is in Libra Scorpio, the planets that are in like Aries, Taurus, a little bit of Gemini will be like most visible. And then the more Earth moves towards like Sagittarius and Capricorn, that's when we'll start to see more. We'll start to see Jupiter more again, as it's moving, more towards the Cancer, Leo energy. But probably not so much either, because in the same breath, the Sun starts to move in those spaces too. And when planets are in conjunction with the Sun, of course they're not visible because they're usually on the other side of the Sun. Um, and anything on the other side of the sun is usually blocked out by the sun. Um, so that's that there, and that's how that works. Uh, with that, hopefully it made sense when I said it to you. I I gotta create some like Bill Nye the Science Guy like little thing just floating right here, so you guys can see what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it. Then Mars travels across East Cancer and moves into Leo by the 25th of this month. So that's fun. Venus is located at the Great Square of Pegasus amongst the Pisces constellation, and it's pairing with Saturn. So Saturn and Venus are starting to rise earlier and earlier than dawn. So dawn right now is like around 5:56 in the morning. So Venus and Saturn is about like 30 minutes before dawn, 30 minutes before that. So like around like 5:20 by the end of the month, you know, you'll see like, Venus and Saturn. You might see Venus more than Saturn because Venus is a lot closer. Um, but you can see them right before the sun comes up, and it's nice there. Or if you guys like to do your rituals and stuff like that for Venus or Saturn, that would be a good time to do it. Neptune is also, rising pre-dawn. Um, but that's further out in distance, as we know. Mercury is in waxing phase, so it is building itself up. Gibeus is it's in waxing gibbous, so it's in building those tangible things in your daily routine, health and wellness. Um, from the 1st of May, we start at 60%. By the 12th of May, we will be at 77%. Um, and then after 514, we start to deal with the elongation in the conjunction with the sun with Mercury. So it'll be out of view. And then by the end of the month, Mercury will be in full phase. I believe we experienced the dichotomy, which is the half phase of Venus, because Venus is in waning phase, waning right now. And we also experienced Saturn equinox this month as well, which is pretty cool because that's when the sun crosses, Saturn's equator, same way it does for Earth. And everybody gets equal treatment. Earth's not special. So we get to have a Saturn equinox. So I wonder what kind of conjuring things they'll come up with on that day. Yeah, Venus will be at dichotomy on June 1st. Now, where is the Saturn equinox at? So I could tell y'all what day, so y'all can mark y'all calendars. I see it written in my head. I just don't remember what date. And this is why I write things down, because I take pictures in my mind of what I wrote and how I wrote it and stuff. And it's fun. And it's fun there. I don't know. Maybe I'm not supposed to say y'all yet. Oh, okay. It's on the 6th. It's on the 6th. Saturn's equinox. And this happens every 15 years, because Saturn's orbit it takes 30 years for Saturn to make a full orbit. So equinox happens once every 15 years. So we won't get another one of these until like 2040. All right. So that's pretty cool. Um, we also have The new moon on 5/26, like we just went over, that's at 11:03 p.m. too. Um, Mercury enters Draconic Taurus on May 8th. Jupiter enters Draconic Cancer on May 16th. Chiron Draconic Taurus on May 11th. Um, Ceres and Aries Zodiac on May 17th. Chariklo retrogrades on May 27th in Aquarius. Sappho enters Taurus on May 29th. Psyche enters Taurus on May 9th. Um, the Sun transits early at 12:55 p.m. on May 13th. Uranus and the Sun are in conjunction. Progressive pushes to our experiences will happen on 5/17. Moon introspection on our transformations happen on 5/18 after we get that progressive push. So it's like you get pushed to the ground and then you have a moment like, dang, that's why I got pushed. The last quarter moon is on May 20th and the full moon is on May 12th. So that's a little, a little cheat code for you guys for the daily mathematics. However, I will be giving you guys the astrological report day by day. As far as we did do, so on the first of the month, we had the max north declination of the moon in Tejas posterior, which is located in a Gemini constellation at the back foot of the Gemini twin. It gives off Mercury and Venus energy, which is force, energy, protection, health, and goodwill, and returning from a journey if you're on one. Because one thing about the Abeji twins, they was traveling. So the moon and that star are in conjunction at 10:37 a.m. The moon was 5.4 degrees north, excuse me, and so that happened. And then Saturn and Ceres, which is the asteroid of agriculture, um, excuse me, this is actually the only asteroid that's in Neptune's orbit, which is pretty cool. It's associated with Virgo energy. It represents mother or mother figure in your life, in your own mothering role in later years. Ceres represents family relationships, food, agriculture, transitions in a female's life, nurturing qualities you receive as a child and give as an adult, connection of a Virgo and Scorpio, what one will destroy in their path to regain what is lost. Shadow aspect can be abusive and abandonment. So Saturn was providing challenges that strengthen you and give you a discipline and order in that area. On the second, we had a 23% waxing crescent moon, building those intangible things. It's the Cancer, tropically Cancer, Vedically Gemini, Draconic Cancer. Sunrise at 5:57, sunset at 7:55. Moon and Castor, we're at minimal angle. Castor is the mortal twin in the Gemini constellation. It gives off the energy of Mercury, honor, intellect, learning, friendship, travel is heavy there with Castor. Minimal angle was at 1:42 p.m. The moon was 5.7 degrees south. Conjunction at 2:41 p.m. The moon was 5.7 degrees south. And we were able to observe that at 8:32 p.m. with a 6.7 degree south-southeast separation. The moon in Pollux. Pollux is the star of the immortal twin, which and gives off the energy of Mars. With hubris, violent, brave, rash, traveling, of course, because the Beji twins did travel, and friendship is heavy here too, because Pollux was very loyal to his mortal twin. Um, the moon and Pollux are at minimal angle at 6:44 p.m. The moon was 2.4 degrees south southwest. Conjunction at 8:58 p.m. The moon was 2.6 degrees south. We were able to observe that at 8:34 p.m. with a 2.5 degree south separation. Vesta, which is the asteroid, excuse me, this is Satan's game. I guess so. Hey Jay. Vesta shows where you have none like devotion, a cause, project, person, or belief that is sacred to you. It relates to work, devotion, spiritual practices, solitude, sacrifice, and aloneness, the calling that you serve, burning desire that transmutes sexual energy into an energy of higher order, our spark of life, and how our inner flame translates to spiritual yearning. So when some of you guys go through like retention and celibacy and stuff like that, this is where that energy goes to instead of doing what you're doing. And we love it here. And that after it reached max brightness yesterday, it was also at the opposition of the sun, which is why it reached max brightness. Um, the sun was at 12 degrees Taurus in the fourth house of home and family, which was in opposition to Vesta at 12 degrees Scorpio in the 10th house of success and achievements. And that's associated with the zodiac, which is our mindset. Not right now. Thank you.
Next one.
Next one. The sun gives us our experiences. And like I said, like when I'm dealing with oppositions, it's like I'm dealing with like a magic wand, right? You got your hand on one side and you got the direction of where you're pointing it at on the other side. So you could be holding the Taurus side of possession and what you value, and you could be pointing it towards transformations, or you could be holding Scorpio energy for truth and transformations and empowerment, and pointing it to what you value and prioritize. It's up to you. um when we get into May 3rd, which is today. Happy Sabbath, y'all. We start the day at a 34% waxing crescent moon. Moon rising at 11:06 a.m. and setting at 1:44 a.m. Tropically, in our mindset, we are in. One second. Get me out of here. Why won't let me exit? I never use my laptop touchscreen, so now my touchscreen is like, I'm not calibrated. You never use me. What are you doing? There we go. All right. So the moon is at, we started the day off with the moon at 25 degrees Cancer in the seventh house. So home and family nurturing, because the moon is in its home space. Um, in the Vedic chart, it's at 1 degree Cancer. And we're going to talk about the nakshatra that is. Hold on a second as I find it. So we start the moon off in Punarvasu nakshatra, which is the seventh nakshatra in Vedic astrology. It goes to 3 degrees Cancer, so that's not where we're going to stay at. But it is ruled by Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion, wisdom, and growth, symbolized by the bow of the Lord Rama and two quivering arrows, um, which signify the energy of recovery, renewal, and returning to a previous state of balance. And the deity, where we go? The deity is Aditi, which is the mother of the gods in Vedic mythology and the goddess of cosmic abundance and renewal. All right. And so when the moon transits here, individuals may feel a strong desire to heal emotional wounds and reconnect with family, reestablish a balance in your life. And so that's how we start off the day. And then the moon, moves forward to Pusha, which is the eighth nakshatra in Vedic astrology. And that goes on to 16 degrees Cancer. And that's how we'll be starting tomorrow, as the moon will be starting at 14 degrees Cancer. It's considered one of the most auspicious and nurturing nakshatras. It's associated with qualities of care, protection, and spiritual nourishment. So we're heavy in our feelings on this on this Sabbath day of nurturing and dealing with our wounds and our emotional self and stuff like that. Um, when the moon transits to Pusha, people may feel more inclined to care for others, offering emotional support and tending to their family or community. There's a desire to nurture and protect, which makes it an ideal time for healing in emotional wounds and strengthening personal relationships. Receptivity to spiritual wisdom is heavy here as well. So that's what we're dealing with in this nakshatra, today. And then we're at a 0 degree Leo in the draconic chart with the moon today. Sunrise at 5:56 a.m. and setting at 7:56 p.m. We are at 12 degrees Taurus in the tropical, which is our thought process. 1 and 2 makes 3, so we're understanding our sense of priorities and value. We're at 1 and 8 in Aries on the Vedic, so in our happenings, we're in our solar plexus chakra, taking initiative and taking action with that understanding that we have. In our draconic and our spiritual self, we're at 1 and 7, so taking action and having that knowledge on our godly self and the way we design things in our space that creates transformations, on what we value and prioritize, and all that's happening towards the home and family of fourth house. Venus and Neptune will have minimal angle at 10:01 a.m. Venus will be 2 degrees north, conjunction at 10:55 p.m. Venus will be 2 degrees north, and no, this is not visible. We talked about that earlier. Venus deals with your heart chakra, what you value, what you prioritize, self-esteem, different facets of love, forgiveness, what we find beautiful in creativity, creation. And Neptune is what our subconscious, our dreams. You know what I'm saying? So some of you guys may have a dream to create something. You know, for my writers, this that's definitely a good space to tap into. Between Neptune and Venus, it's really cool. Creating some things that you visualize. The east side of the moon, Mercurium, is tipped into view at 2 p.m. The ETA Lyrids from the Lyra constellation begins. Their max activity is on May 9th, and they move about 3 an hour. The story between the Lyra constellation, Morpheus used to use the Lyra to, like, enchant the birds and the stones and stuff, and it was fun here. And then the Lyra went into the cosmos. um, I forget the details to that story. I wrote it down somewhere, but I know it belonged to Morpheus, and it was an enchanting piece. And then Morpheus was unalived, and his lyra was put into the stars. The moon and Mars are in conjunction at 7:26 p.m. The moon dealing with introspection, intuition, your internal self, and Mars dealing with your solar plexus chakra, your sense of control and empowerment, your confidence and courageousness. And so having those two aligned is pretty cool. That conjunction occurs at 7:26 p.m. The moon will be 1.7 degrees north, minimal angle at 9:40 p.m. The moon will be 1.5 degrees northeast, and yes, this will be visible. So the moon might be like a little orangey red kind of tint, and that's because it's near Mars, and that's pretty cool. You'll be able to see that in the evening. The moon and Persepi will also be in conjunction. Now, Persepi is located at the head of the crab because, Mars is in the Cancer constellation and now the moon is in Cancer constellation. So, this is all happening in Cancer constellation. So Persepi is the star that's located at the head of the crab in the constellation. It gives off the energy of Mars and the moon, and it brings on disease, disgrace, adventure, brutality. It also brings on the spirit of the ancestors, and it rules your right eye. Okay. So you have like a little triangle going between Moon, Mars, and Persepi. You could utilize that to your liking. For those of you guys who like to invoke this ancestors. Um, some of you guys might want to spread some disease to some people. I don't know. Some of you guys might want to go on an adventure, and some of you guys like brutality. And this is the triangle you can use to create all three. Um, the moon will be at the moon will be 2.4 degrees north at 7:44 p.m. Minimal angle at 10:26 p.m. The moon will be 2.1 degrees north northeast, and yes, again, this will be visible, and we love it here. And so that is the astrological astronomical report for the day. Um, Appreciate you guys for sitting with me. I'm going to read you guys out. Let me get my paperwork in order because I can't do readings in a cluttered space. It doesn't work for me. We don't get along like that. Me and clutter don't get along. I can't think. Okay. So I did have like a little makeshift thing I did. I have to make another timing paper. I got y'all on that tomorrow. But hopefully you guys, have the order of the planets with that. Hey M, how you doing, love? Where are we at with it? Doo-doo-doo. How do I scroll? That's over there. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. My bad, y'all. I'm looking for something. There we go. Planetary hour system. So today we start the hours off with Saturn. So we have Saturn and Jupiter, Mars, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon. Let me see if I can find that paper real quick. Before I let go. This needs to go in a sleeve. It's just sitting around, waiting to be destroyed. But that's hours. um, I ain't going. I ain't gonna be stuck on that too long. Cause I know y'all ready to go, and I don't wanna keep holding y'all. Oh, there we go. I think that is it. It's not. It's okay. I'll have the planetary hours for y'all tomorrow. Well, later on today when we do tomorrow's forecast. Thank you for the favor, and I appreciate you. Dropping stuff. Okay. So let's talk about it. As far as the I got like a little cheat sheet note that I used when I did the whole 2025. That'll make it a little bit easier for you, girl. We do have the Pluto retrograde starting. Hmm. How do I want to do readings today? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? I was gonna do quadrants. Y'all wanna do quadrants this time? So let's start off with the AC line to the IC line, which goes from first, second to third house. And that is, what is that? Those are in the those are in the winter months. So the winter quadrant is from AC to IC line. So that means like the overall energy. And when I say winter, that's Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries. So we're bringing it from winter to new beginnings. You know what I'm saying? So we start off with that earth energy of Capricorn, the challenges and the strengths. Then we come into society with it. We come into, the endings. And now we're coming into beginnings at the beginning. At the beginning. And so, that going from AC to D to IC line, it's mastering those aspects of self will help you find your sense of belonging. Mastering that root chakra, coming into your mindset on society, how you think it's supposed to be versus how it actually is, bringing some things to a close, to an ending, stop that martyrdom shit, all that stuff like that. And then, being confident and courageous. Hey, God's harness. Hey, Jacob. Being confident and courageous and coming into your solar plexus chakra and enforcing, the things in your space according to how you start off in that Capricorn energy will help you guys in that first quadrant. That's in your mindset. Now in the Vedic space in our events, that AC line starts off in Sagittarius, so that's expansion and abundance. And then you come into the challenges, then you come into society, then you're coming into clothing, and then you're going into new beginnings in that first quadrant. The second quadrant that we move into is the fourth, fifth, sixth house. This one is like way smaller. The first quadrant and the second quadrant is like the largest. So the fourth, fifth, sixth house deals with home and family, our sense of belonging, our confidence and courageousness, and our sixth house of Virgo energy. And that starts off in Taurus. So our sense of belonging starts in that place of possessions and what we value and what we prioritize. Then, that fifth house of Leo being creative and stuff like that, that is being influenced by our community and our sense of communication, being adaptable, focused, and flexible. And then our sixth house of health, wellness, daily routine is being influenced by that Cancer energies, that sense of belonging, home and family. That's going to bring us to our interpersonal relationships, our bonds and contracts, right? And that's in our mindset of things. In the Vedic chart of things, um, that Aries energy, we have the new beginnings setting off the tone for our sense of home and family. A lot of you guys finding new spaces to belong to, new groups, new cliques, new communities, new jobs, new homes, new new communities. Say it again. um, then you come into the sixth house. Sixth house has Taurus energy. So what you prioritize and what you value is what's going to give you confidence and courageousness. That's where your creativity is going to be the best. Have some real conversations with y'all. Some of y'all don't really value or prioritize the shit y'all do every day. You know what I'm saying? We know that. Who are you fooling? You ain't fooling us. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand. Because what happens is that sixth house, which is your health, wellness, daily routine, that is being influenced by your community and communication. And if you're not walking in your authenticity of what you value and what you prioritize in that space of fifth house, which is, your creativity, what you're creating, it's going to have an effect on that sixth house that's being pushed by a community. You're going to be getting pushed and influenced by a community on your daily routine that you don't want to be around. That's when you start finding yourself doing shit that you don't want to do. Don't do that to yourself. We don't like that there. And then you're even creating bonds and contracts in that space. So you're making agreements, giving, whether it's written, signed, signature contracts, or you're shaking hands, giving your word. Your word is your bond. And you're signing yourself up for shit that you don't want to do in spaces that you don't want to be with, people you don't want to be around, because you're not being in your authenticity with that fifth house in Taurus energy. So be mindful of that. Now we get into the next quarter of things. We start off in that seventh house line, the descendant energy, give and take, the balance, the over scales of the things. And that it starts off in our mindset in Cancer, nurturing. We want to nurture these interpersonal relationships, these bonds and contracts. That's what we want to do, right? My word is my bond. I want to, keep my word that I make to people. Da da da. You know what I'm saying? Then we move on to Leo energy, and that's seventh house as well. So we go from nurturing into experiencing and enforcing and creating and expression and tapping in our inner child. Then from the eighth house of transformation is being influenced by Virgo energy. We're starting to have more intellect. We're making decisions in these transformations. Having more power and control will help you in the decision house energy. So be mindful of that as well. Um, a daily routine, our intellectual self, we're starting to intellectualize the transformations that are happening around us. I'm saying? We're starting to, compartmentalize and label them accordingly. And a lot of them are going to look very familiar, like, damn, we've been here before, we did this before, because we have the South Node sitting over there. And then you have, the ninth house of expansion and abundance. And that's being influenced by Libra and then Scorpio, which is, our expansion and abundance is coming from a balance of fairness, law, justice, and truth. It's going to bring you expansion and abundance. And then transformations and empowerment is going to bring you expansion and abundance. And that's not our mindset. Now, in the events of things, we have that DC line starting in the community and communication. Talked about that, addressed that already. But then you have the seventh house going even further into nurturing spaces. So we want to nurture. We want to be comfortable. We want to be tapped in our intuition in these interpersonal relationships. Pay attention to what your spirit is telling you. Don't just go for anything, right? Because like I told y'all earlier, Mars and Vertex is there. You're attracting these things. Listening to your gut instinct is definitely how we're starting off the next, lunar cycle. Then we have the eighth house of transformation. We have Leo energy there, giving us the confidence and courageousness in those transformations. Why? Because I just told you why. Because we have Mercury intellectualizing and compartmentalizing and helping us make decisions during transformation. Whereas throughout the majority of the time, we felt like the transformations were just happening. And why me? Why this? Why now? Now it's like, okay, I know what's going on. I know what's happening, and things like that. And we like it here. Hold on a second. And present stuff. And then we have, the ninth house of expansion with Lilith sitting there and providing transformation with that primordial energy, that inner rebellious self, right? Now that's happening in the mindset of things. What's happening in the events of the things? The seventh line is starting over there in Gemini. So, bonds and contracts, happening more towards the community. Remember, I said, be your authentic self. You're gonna regret it if you don't. Oh my gosh. And then also nurturing. And then we have Lilith over there, providing the balance in Libra in the events in the Vedic sidereal. So Lilith is over there in Libra, in that ninth house of expansion and abundance. Then we come to last but not least, um, our 10th house, how we exert ourselves, our successful space, our midheaven line. And we don't have any celestial bodies here, but it is still important to know what zodiac energy we have presiding over these houses. So in our mindset, we have transformations happening on what success looks like to you and what you need to be successful and how you look at successful people and who is successful to you. There's transformation happening there. There's a transference of power happening there. There's truths coming out there, right? And then we have Sagittarius, providing a little bit of energy at the end, a little expansion and abundance, but mostly the Sagittarius is over the 11th house of society, expansion and abundance, traveling, foreign interactions. A lot of you guys are moving out to a different country. A lot of you guys are moving into areas with people of different cultures than you, and you'll be learning things, expanding yourself, and finding more wisdom in those spaces. Allow yourself to experience that. In the 12th house of closing, it starts in that Sagittarius space. So we're closing up some things in that sacral chakra, and then we're also finding some, what do you call it, like subconscious dreams and more expansion. And then, we also have the 12th house ending in Capricorn. So, the subconscious and the sensitivities and emotional stuff happening from the sacral chakra to the root chakra. It's heavy there. And then that's in our mindset and the events and our body experience of things. We have the 10th house starting over there in Libra, so success and achievements look like balance. It looks like harmony. It looks like truth and righteousness, and we love it there. And that's why it's creating transformation in our mind, because in the present we want to see justice. Who doesn't want to see justice? Who doesn't want to see fairness? But for some people who for a long time have been just, oh, that gift scared the shit out of me, because I'm like, where the fuck? It like, my heart jolted. Thank you, goddess. Scared the shit out of me. So now I gotta pee. so, you know, where was I? Shit. Oh, the 11th house, the 10th house. Find that balance, because in our mindset, the 10th house, a lot of us have been going along and getting along. Like, this is just how things are. This is how things are supposed to be. Pick ourselves up by the bootstraps. This is how it is. This is them. This is us. Woo wop. This, that, and third. Well, that's transforming. We don't feel that way no more. Fuck that. And especially because Lilith is right over there, setting the tone, over there, sitting super close to the MC line. Like, hey, if you want to be successful, you gotta say fuck that. You gotta be rebellious. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so of course that's creating a sense of desire of justice. And then the 10th house ends off in transformations of Scorpius energy. And then we have the 11th house starting off in our events. So transformations and empowerment and revelations happening in our society. And then a traveling, you know certain endings will be happening with our foreign interactions with people, and also certain sensitivities and certain things that have been hidden agendas, hidden friends, hidden enemies, hidden alliances. All of these will rise above the horizon when it comes to foreign entities that do not share, like, your usual culture. They'll expand you into a whole new world. And so that's what's happening there. Oh, thank you for the flopping fish. That's cool. And so the reading for today is Arnica, teacher. Ooh, 33. The 33 mastery number. So we're focusing on, I never seen that before neither. So we're focusing on our Saturn placement and allowing that to teach us. Especially on this day of 3, we got a 33, heavy on the Bina energy, the sense of understanding. And what are we becoming a teacher with? Our 4 of swords. That wound, the wounds and chestets, You know, a lot of us have created our chests, our celestial blueprint, our internal law from wounds, from sadness, from pain, from people that had you fucked up, you know, people that had you misunderstood and stuff, and you keep applicating that to other people, places, things, situations around you that you didn't even give them a chance. Um, Make sure that when you make your rules and regulations, it's not coming from a wounded space. Um, Make sure it's coming from a space of empowerment. You know what I'm saying? Joy, sunlight. We love it here. You can be an empress without being all like this. You know what I'm saying? You can be an empress like that and allow the lessons you need to learn to teach you how to do that. And a lot of that's going to come from you focusing on your Saturn placement, which is the challenges we experience that give us the discipline and order we need to move on. And then what parts of self do we focus on? I'm glad you asked that. This is despondence. Despondence is associated with the third eye. So despondency, it means like being hopeless or feeling like outcasted, sadness and despair. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably where this came from. And when it comes to the different challenges you experience, it made you feel hopeless or whatever. We're gonna work on that in our third eye. Um, and then the Sephiroth to focus on is Malkuth, which is our Earth space. I got the Princess of Cups. So we're gonna work on, our 10th Sephiroth, our Earth, being present here in the physical realm, which is also like heavy on the Saturn too, because that's Earth. That's the root of the things. So be physically here, Earth and water. So that connection between the physical and the emotional, the spiritual, bringing you, clarity on this despondence that, you may have gotten in your Saturn and your root of things. So, be mindful of that, give yourself grace. And travel problems. So if anybody trying to go on a trip, I'm saying you might have some issues. And I did talk about the moon and Persephone being in alignment, and I believe that star does hinder journeys. So be careful with your traveling and things of that nature. Um, I thought that was his left leg. I was about to be mad. But yeah, that's what I want y'all to work on. Today is a great day to work on your root. And I also like that the Empress card is a 3 card. So today is heavy on the being, heavy on the understanding, doing your root work, tapping into your natal Saturn placement on the tropical Vedic and draconic chart, and aligning it with your progressive tropical Vedic and draconic chart Saturn, and then aligning with the transit charts, tropical Vedic draconic, or current chart tropical Vedic draconic, and see how you can make triangles with those 3 different astrological placements to benefit yourself and create a new space. You know what I'm saying? Create a new space for yourself, and hopefully it'll bring you out of that sense of hopelessness and feeling discouraged and things like that. And you remember that a lot of the Saturn experiences that you experienced was actually to bring you, actually to be your teacher and to bring you like knowledge and wisdom. It wasn't to make you feel bad or feel sad or feel like you can't get certain things going. So you want to transmute those wounds. You can also definitely focus on that Chiron too, because Chiron as well as Pleiades. So whatever you may have, whatever, if you have some celestial planets near in your Taurus constellation, see if it's close to Pleiades or whatever, and that'll be like your wound transmuter, Chiron as well. And that's what I got for you today, my lovely cosmic nobodies. I appreciate you guys tapping into this planetary forecast. It was a good time. I will see you guys tomorrow for tomorrow's math. I'll see you later on this evening for Sundays. Damn, we already chatting about Sunday. I don't even want to. I'm not trying to speed up time. But for Sundays, mathematics. Again, I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, share. Let people know I exist. I appreciate you guys tapping in. It would mean the world to me if you guys could just share me from time to time, whether you see me on TikTok or YouTube. And let people know that I do this on a regular basis. They want to know where the planets are. If you want to get a head start, again, this is a great video. I've given you guys a bunch of keys for the month of May. I also have a 2025 video where I talk about all 12 energies at the during the month of 9, and I talk about all 12 months. during the month of 9. So you guys get all the numerology, and you guys get a head start on a lot of the astrology and astronomical events for 2025 as a whole. So, if you guys want to check out those videos, hey, Lieutenant Razzle Dazzle. Thank you, Goddess. So if you want to, visit that, you can head over to my YouTube page. That's Less Nobodies, and you can check out all those videos. I have so many. I have so much information up there. If you guys would like a book, a one-on-one session, I do, counseling, spiritual counseling. I assist you in aligning your astrological placements into your chakras. Whether it's your tropical, Vedic, draconic, natal, or progressive, you got 6 choices to choose from. You could choose all 6. It's your will, but I place them into your chakras. You can do one chakra at a time, which I prefer. I like to do ongoing counseling sessions where we focus on one chakra at a time together. And I give you guys some art therapy exercises. It's a motivational therapy type setting. And, we go over the chakra for like 2 sessions because you have the internal and external. And then we move on to the next chakra. And so that's about like a 14-week type thing. And it could go on even longer than that if you want to expand into your progressive chart, get into predictive reading and all that stuff like that. Um, and or I could do a one-time reading per chakra or all 7 chakras at one time, and it's fun there as well. In addition to that, I also do astrocartography reading. I also read your numerology and gematria charts. Um, I do a plethora of things. Really cool. I also do an energy awareness class. If you guys have an event, whether virtual or in person, I can come and do a 30-minute minus plus some minutes. It depends on what you need. I can do it really fast. I can do it really slow, and I can give you and I can give you like how to align your stars into your chakras for energy awareness and how to applicate this in your energy exchanges. I like application. Application is important. It's cool to know these things, but how are you applying them? How are you rising above them? How are you healing with them? How are you helping others heal in your energy exchanges, whether directly or indirectly, right? That's what's really important, right? Um, so doing that, I have done previous energy awareness courses. I have some more coming up, and I'm very excited about them. And we'll hone in on dates as certain things come into order. I'm still trying to get my health wellness daily routine together. So to put different events into my calendar when I'm trying to get my 6th house in order, has been kind of like a learning. I'm getting with the 3rd house, being flexible and focused. Uh, but I also perform positive affirmation music. If you guys want to check out my music, again, go to Les Nobodies. You can also go to Sunshine Monet L. I'm available on all streaming platforms, and I got some really cool music up there. If you guys, interested in doing music with me, I'm open to it. If you guys want me to come and perform at your next event, or somebody who hosts events that would love to have me, do a workshop or perform or have my jewelry or do readings or whatever have you, I'm here for it. And yeah, that's what I have. I'm going to head out now because my throat is dry. Peace, peace, y'all. See y'all on